Russia is dangerous. Don't go there. You will regret this decision. There is only mafia. If you also heard these stereotypes and you don't believe in these stereotypes, watch my video till the end. These were the warnings we heard over and over again when we talked about moving to Russia. People painted a picture of cold, dark streets, unfriendly faces, and endless danger. I told my husband stories, most of them exaggerated about the struggles of living in Russia. At first, I brushed it off. After all, I grew up there. I know the warmth behind the cold facade, the beauty that lays beyond the stereotypes. But for my husband, it was not so easy. He was stepping into an unknown world, leaving behind everything familiar. I remember the day we landed. The air was freezing. It was midwinter, and he looked around like he had just landed on another planet. His first words were, "Are we going to survive this?" The first few days were like a test. Everywhere we went, people seemed distant. The streets were silent compared to the lively chaos of Pakistan. The language was a barrier, and even simple things like buying grocery felt overwhelming. Let's start with the cold Russian winters. Russian winters are not just cold, they are brutal. For example, in Siberia, in Yakutia, it can be minus 70 degrees. And if you will be there for more than 15 minutes, you will die. For someone used to the warm, sunny days of Pakistan, this was a whole new level of shock. I will never forget the first time he tried to walk on icy streets. He slipped twice before I could even warn him. And he said, "Why didn't you tell me? It's like skating out here." He said, half joking, half panicked. And then there was other funny situation. His idea of winter clothing was a light jacket and a scarf. I had to teach him about thermal layers, heavy boots, and why you cannot go outside without gloves. But it wasn't just the weather, it was the whole atmosphere. The gray skies in winter, the quiet streets, and the feeling of being so far from home. It all added up, making those first few weeks feel heavier than we expected. You know, in Russia, people don't make small talk with the strangers. They don't smile at you on the streets, and they don't engage in casual conversations unless it's necessary. For someone from Pakistan, where even a short walk can turn into a social event, this was baffling. I remember our first trip to the metro. It was rush hour and the train was packed. But despite the crowd, it was quiet. Everyone was either staring at their phones, at their books, or lost in their own thoughts, or speaking with the on-call. My husband, he saw all this atmosphere and he whispered, "Is everyone angry? Why does no one talk?" I laughed and said, "They are not angry. It's just how we are. We are not big on unnecessary chatter." For example, in Pakistan, hospitality is loud, colorful, and overflowing with the food. In Russia, it's quieter and more understated. This was one of the biggest cultural shock for my husband. The first time we visited a Russian family, my family, he was surprised by how formal it felt. There was no huge spread of food, no loud conversation, and no constant questions about his life. Instead, it was calm, polite, and simple. But with the friends or with the in family events, of course, it's a different story. He told me later, I thought they didn't like me, like my family didn't like him, but that wasn't true. Russian hospitality is different. It's about making you feel comfortable without overwhelming you. The language barrier was one of the hardest part of adjusting. Even though I tried to teach him some Russian phrases, it wasn't enough. One time he wanted to buy bread from a local shop. He confidently walked up to the counter and he said, "Хлеб, пожалуйста." It means bread, please. The shopkeeper responded with a question in rapid Russian and he froze. He had no idea what she was saying. When he came back to me, he said, I think I just agreed to buy the whole bakery. Moments like these were frustrating but also very funny. Russian cuisine is very different from Pakistani food. It's less spicy, more natural, and relies heavily on ingredients like potatoes, cabbage, sour cream, buckwheat, and other natural products. For my husband, this was an adjustment. The first time he tried borscht, he looked at me and he said, "Where is the spices? It tastes so calm." Over time, he learned to appreciate the simplicity of Russian dishes, but it was a slow journey. The hardest part of my husband was missing the warmth and chaos of home. He missed the vibrant bazaars, the smell of spices, and the constant buzz of activity. One night he told me, "It feels like the world is too quiet here. I don't know if I will ever get used to it." But later, he even liked it. He said, "It's such a peaceful place." Despite the challenges, there were moments that started to change his perspective. When a kind stranger helped us to find our way, a warm smile from a neighbor, and the realization that every culture has its own beauty. So, is Russia dangerous? No, it's different, challenging, and sometimes overwhelming, but it's also beautiful, welcoming, and full of surprises. Culture shock is not easy, but it's worth it. It teaches you to grow, adapt, and appreciate the world in a whole new way. If you ever felt out of the place in a new culture, share your story in the comments. Let's remind each other that every journey is worth it. Until next time, пока-пока.